Winnipeg Blue Bombers. When I was a kid, I was completely in love with this football team. And why not? Under Coach Bud Grant, they seemed to go to the Grey Cup year after year. And as much as I loved the Bombers, I hated their traditional rivals from the East, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And if I had to pick one guy from the team I hated the most, well, it was their big and I suspected psychotic defensive tackle, Angelo Mosca. Actually, I wasn't alone. Just about everybody in the league hated Mosca, probably because he was great at what he did. Angelo's been out of football for some years. Pro wrestling is his game now, but I suspected he hadn't become any less hateful. Well, Angelo showed me something almost from the start.
He was number 68, a 6'4", 285-pound defensive tackle. For 15 seasons, most with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, he left his mark on the fans and the opposing players of the Canadian Football League. He built a reputation as one of the meanest, dirtiest, and also one of the best linemen to play the game. Today, 8 years after his retirement from football, he's still drawing the crowds, now to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. They come to see Angelo King Kong Mosca, their favorite arch villain. Angelo first capitalized on his ferocious football image by taking up wrestling in the off-season. What was forbidden on the football field is encouraged in the wrestling ring, and the fans love it. Angelo's bad guy image has given him a second career. Today, at 43, he still works out daily. You were defensive tackle. To me, that means you were paid to hurt people, in a way, right? I mean, you've got to...
No, I don't say hurt. I never was out there to maim anybody. My reputation was created that I was the dirtiest player. And I think that anxieties are created amongst other people. And I was just a hyper-aggressive ball player, and I played the game right to its hilt. I pushed every rule right to its hilt, because I think it still stems from your background, and it was head-to-head confrontations when we were kids, whether it was arm wrestling or wrestling, period. And I think this was instilled. I had no hostilities. I just enjoyed the competition, and I always wanted to be the best at what I did.
Some people will say that now you're out of football and into wrestling, that you've given up sport and gone into show business.
Well, I think if you become an athlete of some sort, you're on exhibition all the time. We're entertainers. I was an entertainer when I played football. Some football players are mediocre. They don't have any charisma. That was something that I've always had. It was God-gifted. Whether some people say I exploited it, it doesn't matter to me, because everything is relative at the time, and I was making monetary gains through it all. But to say if an intelligent person reads a wrestling card that says an exhibition of strength and skill, it's a head-to-head confrontation. And the people that go to wrestling enjoy the athletic skills of the wrestler. They enjoy getting rid of the hostilities. I am an entertainer. In football, I was hidden amongst 12 other guys. You had to share the limelight. This way here, I don't have to share any limelight.
But sometimes they're booing you, or a lot of the time they're booing, especially when you're in the wrestling ring, and they're yelling terrible things at you, and they're saying they hate you and all of this. I mean...
Well, they did that to me in football. I can remember in 1963, I was hit by a little old woman with an umbrella after I hurt Willie Fleming. So whether they're booing you or cheering you, it's immaterial, because at least they come in to see you.
One thing they say about wrestling is that you're in more danger from people outside the ring than you are from your opponent inside.
Yeah, true. People, maybe all their anxieties haven't been released through screaming and hollering, so they want to take things out on you physically.
What have they done to you?
I've been stabbed in the shoulder. I've been kicked. I've been hit with boards. I've had eggs thrown at me. But like I said, you create a monster, you have to live with it, and it doesn't bother me. I've learned how to handle myself physically, both physically, if I can't do it physically, I figure I can do it mentally.
Angelo also takes care of himself financially. Wrestling has given him a Cadillac, a six-figure income, and taken him to Africa, Asia, and Europe. It's a long way from his working-class roots in Waltham, Massachusetts. And he's proud of his achievements in football. 5 times an Eastern Conference All-Star, twice an All-Canadian. But he's had to pay a price for his bad guy image. The game balls, the trophies, reminders of his glory days, don't compensate for the top lineman award he feels he should have won.
The media created my image and made me a lucrative living, and they also hurt me in some senses when some people believed that Angelo Mosca was the animal, that he couldn't handle success. And in 1970, which was the twilight years of my career, I really had a great year, and it was like a light bulb burning out, because 1970, that's 10 years ago, so I was like 33 years old. I was one of the oldest linemen ever to represent the linemen in Canada. But like I said, I've learned to live with it. But like I said, I would have liked to have that award.
You're really not the guy that you've seemed to be all these years.
I think you have to have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality to be a sports celebrity or a sports person. First of all, the people think you're a caged animal because of the way you play or the way you wrestle. The crowd, I think, does most of the psych job on me, and I react to the situation. And I get ready like anybody else. It's competition. I love the competition. And I like the head-to-head confrontations that happen not only in sport, in everyday life. And I just thank the Lord that I can wake up every morning and I can please myself. I think it's a within thing with me, and they said it's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality you have to have. And I think if you carry it from the arena or from the ring, people lose respect for it, and I always want to maintain that respect. I'm a man who loves to be hated.